Thank you guys for coming this morning. My name is Chris Frangiosa, and as John stated, I am the operations manager of TCO Fly Shop in Pennsylvania. And we have 5 retail stores and a profitable website. And then we also own a consulting company called Vild Consulting that helps retailers all over the country and in North America to grow in a lot of different ways. We don't have a ton of time today, so I'm not going to talk too much more about myself. I want to really dig into the topics here. We are going to be allowing questions during the presentation. Something I really like is the back and forth. So all you're going to do, if you have a question, raise your hand, and they'll come over to you with a mic, and you can go ahead and ask your question. So the first thing we're going to talk about, or what we're going to talk about today, are hiring strategies, staff retention, and motivation and staff retention. I think it's one of the things we all struggle with is finding good people and holding on to them. So we're going to dig into kind of how we do that. On this picture here, you can see some of the TCO team. Currently, there's 70 employees at TCO Fly Shop. When I started, there was 6. I've had a lot of interviewing that I've done over the years to build that since 2006 to do that. So where do we want to start? I want first to adjust our mentality about what our relationship is with someone who works for us. It's a relationship like anything else, like a personal relationship you would have. And that means that there's things you have to consider. First off, we have to care about one another. And a lot of these things I'm going to talk about have to do with happiness in the workplace. Just like any good relationship, you have to work hard at it every day. Don't just assume that they're happy. Don't just assume that everything's going well. Care for them and talk to them about things. Make each other better. When you say something, when you do something, show them with your words and your actions that you're going to help them to be a better person and level up, and that you're working together on something and that they don't just work for you. Put yourself second. You are the least important part of the whole equation. They make the whole thing happen. So how do you empower them to be better and to grow? And that happens every day. As we talk through this, you'll see more about that. If you have a lot of turnover, start asking yourself, am I doing what we're talking about today or am I not? So if you have people that are leaving your organization all the time, and sometimes in the consulting company we find that, the answer is with the leader. That's why the people are leaving. There's not another reason. That is it. Their leadership is not there, and they're not following through with the team to empower them to want to be there. And so this is the last thing I say, and I actually say this to applicants and people that work for me. I believe a good employee-employer relationship is one where both sides feel like they're getting the best part of the deal. Your employees should feel like this is the best job I ever had, and then as an owner or an operator, you should feel like this is the best employee I ever had, and that's how it really works. So we're going to start out and talk about some of the barriers to hiring. I will point out that at the end I'm going to put a QR code on the screen. You guys can email me and I will send you the presentation as well as all the notes that I have today. We probably won't cover everything just because of the timeline, but I'm also happy to chat with you guys after the presentation as well. So what are some of the barriers to hiring? The first one is people are afraid to hire because they don't want to make the mistake of hiring someone that they don't want, and they're afraid to fire people. So firstly, don't be afraid to fire someone who is not doing the job that you need them to do. I think we all have someone in the organization at some point of the life cycle of the company, or maybe right now, that we know needs to go, and we're afraid to do it. So typically when we are working on a consulting project and we go in to meet a new business, there's always that one person that's been there a long time. They think they know everything, and they're really bringing everybody else down. And ownership is just too terrified to let them go, maybe because they are their friend, or they are instrumental or they're the most knowledgeable people in the company as well. And I can tell you from firsthand, having gone through this, that when those people are let go, you feel better immediately. It also helps everyone else to realize that you're supporting them. And frankly, the last 3 people that I've had to do that to, I'm still friends with. Maybe not immediately, but afterwards it does come back around. So that's one of the first reasons people do not look for people. They're concerned about messing with the chemistry of the business. They feel like it's running pretty well right now, so why would I change anything? The answer is you don't know how good it could be running if you had some new superstars on the team you're used to a status quo that maybe isn't what it could be. So it's hard to grow with that mentality, and that's kind of what this all comes back to as well. Next is you don't think there's anyone out there that's good enough to hire. And I will tell you that I'm hiring people daily for different businesses and the TCO business as well. They're never good when you first hire them usually. They're good after you hire them and you train them. So when people say to me, which happens a lot, how do you find all the good people? You have 70 really good people. Like they're good because of the teamwork that we all put into making each other good. They're not good right from the start. Now there are some, Andy there, he's fantastic from the start. But it's what you put into one another that makes you great, right? It's the effort you put in and that they will put in effort to come back to you as well. So another reason for not hiring. They've been doing the same thing for too long, and they keep doing all the work themselves. So instead of hiring someone, they're like, yeah, I need to hire someone, but in the meantime, I'm going to do it myself. So you end up in your business trying to wear all these hats and doing things, not realizing that there's people out there that are better at those things than you. You just need to hire them first. So I have multiple people that work for me that have taken jobs that I used to do and now do them better than me. So you learn, now I learned to delegate. I learned that hiring is good. I'm having all this positive feedback, and I've got a team that is so great that are doing it way better than I would have ever done it. So I think that's another thing. Get over the fact that it's not just you, and start to delegate and hire people to help to take over. The next one is procrastination. I think we all do that. I was working on my presentation 10 minutes ago as well because I procrastinate. We all do. But this is one thing that you cannot procrastinate on. And as we dig deeper, you'll see why that is. And the last thing is, I could have put laziness, but it's really like, it's working, so I'm just going to leave it alone. It's this fear of what could be coming or risk or whatever. But I can tell you firsthand that the risk is worth it because you will find people that you never even knew were out there, and what they can help you to do and where to grow is incredible. Any questions on these barriers? These all sound like things that you guys have thought before. I see some nods. There's probably one thing here that you've done. I've definitely done a bunch of them. So when I send you this presentation at the end and you're back at your shop and you're back at your business and you're thinking, what should I do? Look at this and go, am I doing any of these things? And if I am, like, stop it. Because there's great things come to people that hire and build a great team. Okay, so next. When do I start looking for people? That's me, holding a small mouth, by the way. I didn't talk about my fishing, but I'm a fly fisherman. I fish all over the world, and it's my #1 passion as well. So that's why I love doing what I do. So #1, you're going to see this come up a bunch of times. Always interview all the time. So most of us interview when we need someone. That is not the right way to do it. You have to interview all the time. And there's a bunch of reasons why people don't do that. Maybe some of the reasons before. But the #1 is an interesting one. Just because you're interviewing doesn't mean that you have to hire someone. We have this preconception that if we're interviewing, that means there's a job opening. And that's not necessarily what interviewing is. Interviewing is reaching out and trying to find I'll use Andy's word, a pipeline. Create a pipeline of applicants. So when you do, I think we have a question there for Peter, yep. I'll wait for that. Yep.
Yeah, Chris, that build a list of good people. We do a plug event that's well attended, a couple hundred people. Starts at 5:30 in the morning. Some people stay in the parking lot. I go there at 5:30 and check people in. So I put my eyes on 500 people that are very interested.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you do? And I might ask a couple of them. I'm all done. I got 10 checks out of 400 plus people, but a great way to think about it in advance.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you. So I'm interviewing daily, and I'm interviewing just to meet people and to see what they're doing. And there's a reason why this is okay as we get into this, but With the kind of jobs that we're offering the job that is a dream job for a lot of these people. A lot of the applicants we get are either doing something else already that they don't like, and they want to come and work in an industry that they love or a sport that they love. They're willing to wait for this job if that's what's necessary. So instead of feeling like, oh my God, this person just quit, I need to start interviewing right now. What if you said, oh my God, this person just quit, I've got 10 resumes of people that I feel comfortable hiring right now. And you're going to call 10 people, and maybe 7 of them already took other jobs, but those 3, they're there for you. You have this comfort and this backup system. It also allows you to be more patient with who you choose. When you're forced to make a decision really quickly because now you have no one to cover Saturdays or whatever, you have to pick someone. And they're probably not going to be, maybe they will, but they're probably not going to be the best person coincidentally that just happened to show up at that moment. It takes us a while to gather these resumes. So I'm interviewing all the time. We're going to dig more into that as well. And then, yeah, we have a question there. Mic him up.
So when you were talking about having these 10 resumes set and ready to go, and obviously 7, you're saying 7 probably might take another job, how do you end those interviews to make sure that they still feel like they're willing to come work for you afterwards?
That's a great point. And we're going to talk a lot. That's a great question. And we're going to talk a lot about interviewing today. One of the things is showing them, first of all, telling them about your organization during the interview and getting them excited about what it is and letting them know that you feel, the line I always say is like, we have a family where we work, right? That's, I think, one of the other reasons we love what we do is because we all like the same thing. We're willing participants of the same sport, and we want to work together. We like who we work with. So that's why they're applying. They want to work in it. They probably work in a job that they don't like. They don't like people they work with most of the time. It's a daily grind, and they want to come and work in an environment where they're having fun. So they already feel that way. And the line I use a lot is like, we are looking for members of our family to join our company. And it might not be now, but when the time comes, we'll know when the time is right. And let's stay in touch on this because I really feel like you fit this perfectly. Interviewing is all about showing respect to the applicant. And we're going to talk about that. But like even the people that you don't want to hire, they even need more respect during the interview than the people you are going to hire because it shows who you are as an organization and as an interviewer. It's so easy to go, no, not a chance. But those are the people that will leave you a negative review or never shop with you again or all these other things. It's like, an interview is a great chance to promote who you are as a company, and then that will be infectious to those people that are applying. They will want to wait for that. I've never had a bad response to that ever. They want to do what we do so bad. And a lot of times it requires a pay cut and a bunch of other things to come to work in an industry like this, but they want to do it for reasons that are beyond what a normal job is, right? So they're going to want to hang around. I've had people I had a guy just recently that interviewed 2 years ago, and I just hired him a couple of days ago. But he stayed in touch. He said, I'm still doing I still want to work for you. Let me know when the time is right. We talk about fishing every once in a while. Now he's coming. So it's that kind of like relationship that leads to you controlling your business as opposed to reacting to something that happens, right? Okay, and then the last thing, did I answer your question? Did you feel good? This is the big one for me. If you find a superstar, hire them immediately and they will find a way to make themselves valuable in the company. Even if you don't have a spot, there's always that one person you find that is so good and fits the bill perfectly, you have to find the payroll and you've got to hire them. Because in our world, those people are, in the world in general, those people are few and far between. And that's always done well for me because even if I don't have a role for them, they will make their payroll justified because they're so good. So if you have that person, don't let them sit on the bench. All those other people are good. They're not like, I'm talking like this person was made for the role that we're looking for, and it can help me level up the whole company. Okay, so when do we start looking? Always. Where do we start looking? So I would look at this a little differently. So I have this separated into 2 categories. Where do I look when I don't need people? And where do I look when I do need people? So there's definitely different approaches here. I want you to take a more passive approach to looking for applicants when you don't really need anyone. Like we're not going full court press on paying for Indeed and we're on LinkedIn and all these other things. We're not going to do that when we don't need anyone. But we are going to do a few things. We're going to make sure that people know that we're looking for someone. So that could be as simple as like a poster in the store that says, join our family, join our team, jobs, an interview anytime, here's the information. Put it out there that you are hiring. One of the things that we find with some of our customers is that they are afraid to do this because they feel like it shows weakness in their organization. Hiring people and needing people does not show weakness in your organization. It, in fact, is the opposite. It shows that you are growing and that you are a company looking for new mentalities and new perspectives, and this is a positive thing to show this. So they should always be in the store all the time. Have a sign that says, interested in working here, or whatever you want to put, something goofy, guy holding a fish, whatever. You can use my photo. And make it look pro. This is another part of this. So if you write it on a piece of paper or you print it on, in Word or something like that, what does that show the applicant? Are we a professional organization? If we are, we'd probably send it to a printer. We'd have it done, graphic design style, and it would look really nice. That shows them the level that we are. We should always show the highest level of who we are to every time we have an opportunity. Hence that interview question you asked. I'll do a 30-minute interview with someone I don't even want to hire because I want to show them who we are and what we're about, and it always comes back in a positive way. So make the poster nice. If you have a website, which I'm assuming, show of hands, how many e-commerce participants? Okay, so half maybe. If you have an e-commerce presence, put a button on the homepage that says, inquire within for jobs or whatever. And you'll get some here and there, and put some job descriptions in there so they can see what different jobs might be. Now, one of the things that we have at TCO to deal with is because we have 5 locations, geographically it matters where people are, so I will have them apply for, someone can't apply 3 hours away, right? They can't work. So I have them put that in there as well. People will move to work for you. This is another big thing. I had the same mentality. I thought I'm only going to be able to hire people that are like right around where I am. And it's absolutely not true. I just recently hired a woman from Maine. She moved from Maine. The person from Pittsburgh just moved, which for you guys that don't know, Pennsylvania is about 5-6 hour drive away. People will relocate because our job is a dream job. And I want you guys all to remember that when you're with other people that don't have our job, they're envious of what we do because we get to do fun things together, we get to fish, we get to live our dream every day. So keep that in mind. When you do need people, so that's when you don't need people, just kind of a passive approach at looking for applicants. When you do need people, all the things to the left still apply. Post full-time descriptions, but do not post a pay scale. So this is an interesting one because and this might take a little longer to explain. I'll try to do it quickly. Because this is a dream job, people will make sacrifices to say yes to a job with a pay that they weren't expecting and how low it actually is without thinking about it. So a typical interview for me in this instance, and this is an important thing to talk about, I will ask them kind of where they got the information, why they wanted to apply, basic interview questions, but then I'll say, typically they'll have a resume where they've worked in another job for many, many years, 20 years maybe or less, but they've built a career somewhere else. So I'll ask, have you given thought to what the sacrifice of going from a job you don't like to one you really like is going to cost? And can you give me a range of what you are willing to take as pay? So I had 15 interviews last week for a specific position that I was interviewing for, and half the people said $100,000 to $150,000 a year was they're willing to take the cut. And that very clearly told me that we're not even in the same ballpark for these people. So I go into a different mode. I go into, thank you so much. I just want you to know I appreciate you interviewing. We're not even half of what you're asking for this position, but let me give you a little more information on what you can do to, in the future to do this. What that comes to, though, is that if someone is close, like if I'm paying 50 and they're going to say 60 to 70, they'll say yes to 50 because they want the job so bad, and then 2 weeks later, they'll realize that they made a mistake. So let them tell you what their threshold is for pay first. And explain it the way I just did. I tell people why. I say, look, I'm going to ask you a question. Don't worry about it. Just tell me what's your range. And I'll tell you why, because this happens and this happens. Explain why you're doing what you're doing, and they'll get it. But if you lead with pay, it just doesn't, they're going to say yes, and then you're going to have a lot of turnover within like a month of hiring people because they're not really prepared for it. They need to organically know already what the pay is going to be and be okay with it themselves without you putting your convincing them or putting something into their head. Okay, talk to customers. So customers are a big source of applicants. And one of the fears that a lot of retailers have is that if you don't hire a customer, what happens? So a customer applies, maybe a really good customer. There's two bad things that can come from that. One, they're a customer and they might be buying a lot and now they're going to get a discount if you hire them. So that's one thing to consider. That's a short-sighted thing. I don't even think about that. The bigger thing is that you don't want to offend a really good customer or any customer for that matter. So how do you interview a customer even when you know they're not going to be good? I've got one customer that applies at least twice a year, same guy for 5 years, and I never hire him. But I always take the time to talk to him about what he needs to do to level up to get to be at a point where I will hire him potentially. Probably not going to. But I show him the respect by talking through with him where we are in the process and what he can do to be better. And what you find is that when you don't hire people, but you are willing to talk through with them what they can do to get to a point where you'll hire them, that they respect you and you took the time and you gave them the time. So you don't have any upset applicants at the end. Send email blasts to everyone on your email list. That's kind of an easy one. And again, we talked about this already, but interviewing does not show weakness, it shows strength. So anything else, any questions on these before we move to the next topic? Yeah, we got a question back there.
So my question is about not posting the pay scale. If someone's threshold is just already too high, but they applied for the job, had they known that the pay scale was going to be lower, and they're kind of like, that was, I don't want to say a waste of my time,
Yep.
but kind of wish I hadn't gone in. Is your goal to still not show that pay scale because you're fishing just in case if that one person would be willing to take that bite?
So that's a great question because this happened to me last week a few times where I posted a marketing position and I got marketing people from all over the country because it's a remote position, and they need to have fishing experience though. So that was one of the limiting factors. And I had probably 5 or 6 people that we weren't even close. Out of those 5 people, one person wants to help me on a consulting front. So you never know what you're going to get, and you never know where it will lead you. And what I find is like I have it in my head like a job that I'm posting for initially. By the end of the interview process, that job has totally shifted because I've learned things from every applicant that I've talked to, and my mind has started to open about what are other ideas I could do here. So this guy that I'm talking about now wants to help with some things I never even thought about before, and I'm going to hire him to do it. And it's super amazing that I never even thought about it until I did it. So if you keep the fishing element in there, that will keep the number of applicants down, just because it's naturally not something that everybody does. It's a niche thing. But I still suggest you interview everyone because you just never know where it's going to lead you. And as long as you're willing to put the time in, it doesn't take a lot of time, but it's absolutely worthwhile. And especially it depends also on what your growth strategy is and how important growth is for you right now. But for me, I'm always looking to see where it's going to lead us and continue to grow in different ways. And this was one of those examples. So yeah, it takes a couple days of me just sitting there doing interviews all day long, and it's brutal sometimes, but it's worthwhile. So does that answer your question? Cool. Another question up front.
Hi.
Hi.
How formal of an application process do you like to do, and does it differ between the two situations?
Yeah, I always want resumes if I can get them. You will find that I think with a job like this, sometimes applicants think that their resume isn't relevant because they have done nothing like this before, but I still want that. It teaches me a little bit about them. I love a cover letter as well, so I'm always hoping for that. But I will reply to someone who just writes I'm interested, here's my number. Because I've just learned enough times that it was worth it. That's all I will tell you. I've just spent so much time interviewing and thinking, is this worth my time? And then I'm always coming out going, it was. So, yes.
So on that, with the resume, would you rather see someone who's not from your field give you a resume with it more brief, or a full-length CV where it has everything? Which would you prefer?
I want everything, but I definitely want everything. But but again, they have to know the sport. So I can teach you how to build a Shopify website, but I can't teach you how to love fishing. And if you don't love fishing, you can't work for me. It just doesn't work. Because the passion that we have for what we do is what the customers are expecting. So that's a prerequisite for me. But then I want the whole resume, because I want to know kind of, I'll look at it and see kind of where they went and what they've done, and I can understand their path and understand how they got to me. So I have an employee now who's worked in the financial field his whole life, and he applied to work for a job, and he was making crazy money. And I was like, this isn't going to work for you. I can't pay you this much. He's like, I know, I really want to do this. And like a year goes by, and he came back, he's like, I really want to do this still. I'm like, we've been over this. I can't. He's like, I don't care, I just retired, I want to come. Can I work for you now? Retired, now works for me. And doesn't make a lot of money anymore, but he loves his job, and it's exactly what he wants to do. So he's, how old's Bill, 50? Something like that. So yeah, I want the whole resume because it shows me their path. But I need to know about the fishing too. So that's super critical. And that's what helps you to weed out applicants that, like if you do it on Indeed, you'll get a million bots and all kinds of other things that'll send you resumes. You can put some questions in there that require to answer about fishing. And that will help you to understand AI. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I don't use Indeed very often. LinkedIn I do use a bunch. And then all these organic ways are really more ways that I like to use. And like Peter said, just talking to customers too is a great way to do it. Okay, where to look for applicants. Here's a couple hiring tips. If you hire someone and it doesn't work out, one of the default feelings that we all will have is, see, it didn't work. I'm just going to go back to what I was doing before. Don't do that. Try again, because you're not going to get it right every time. It's okay. It's like sometimes you hire someone and you think it's going to be the best. It turns out not to be, and you just start over again. This is a constant vigilance mentality of hiring, and it will put you ahead of your competition, because I can tell you that most shops are not doing what we're talking about right now. They're as secret as diligence. Do it over and over and over again, and just don't stop. It doesn't always have to be you either. That's the other thing. Delegate interviews. So for part-time employment, I don't do those interviews. I'm looking for full-time while I have the shop managers doing their part-time employment, because they're the ones that have to work with them anyway, and that's fine with me. Okay, here's another one. If you're waiting for the perfect hire, just realize that you will end up doing everything yourself, and I think that a lot of us do that. They become perfect through training and coaching, not through just perfect luck. Although there is that superstar we talked about earlier, which is maybe the case. You'll find someone like that. But if you're waiting on that, you're going to be waiting forever. It's just never going to happen. There are no just magic people out there that just know exactly what we want all the time. Okay, so we have resumes. What do we do now? Okay, so this is the interesting part about getting into the head of our applicants and also our current staff. So this is going to talk a lot about retention as well as hiring. We're kind of moving on a little bit from the hiring thing, talking about retention right now. We have to understand why people want to work for us. Just like a relationship we talked about earlier. Why does this person like me? Why do I like them? Why are they here? So number one, it's a passion-based industry, and this is a calling that people have. So not everyone has, like my calling is retail. Not a lot of people maybe have retail as a calling. I do. But people definitely have fishing and hunting and outdoors. It's a calling. It's something that you want to be part of so badly. That is one of the reasons why people work for us. Another one, employee discounts. They love the sport. They can't afford or don't want to afford to buy all this stuff. They want to work for us, and that's often a part-time motivation. And that's okay. It's okay to have that motivation as long as they're not abusing the discount. Flexibility, so dress code, hours, comfort level. I want you to think about everything in life has a cost and an expense. So something as simple as I can wear sandals to work, that means a little bit of money that they're willing to give up to wear sandals to work because they're wearing shoes that are uncomfortable at their regular job. I don't have to wear a suit. What is the cost of that? I get to work with people I like. What's the cost of that? If you start adding all those things up, you realize why people take jobs to work here. Because all those things add up to be worthwhile. I get to go fishing for a job. So think about that. Work with people of like mind and family. So one of the things that has been very common in the last interviews I've done is people have said to me, family at the workplace is not a thing anymore. I don't feel like I know anyone I work with. I don't really like anyone I work with. When they see a company like ours, one where we all get along and like each other and we work together and have fun, that's a big draw for them. So that's one of the other reasons they'll work for us. And then in some cases, an industry stepping stone. So maybe they want to work for a manufacturer. I'm sure there's some manufacturers here, but they want to work for a manufacturer, or they want to be a rep, or whatever. They want to get into the industry to get started. These are younger people, and that's okay too. Because as you see later, I'm going to talk about, we have to level everyone up that works for us. Our job is to make people better, whether they stay with us or they leave. But that's how you build a positive work environment. And I got to keep moving here because this goes fast. What are some of the negatives of working for us? Low pay. So we've got to be honest about it. In an industry like this, we're not making millions of dollars. We're working because we love it. So that's one of the drawbacks. And then this is a double-edged sword, the blend of personal and professional. So this is a positive and a negative. In some ways, it's great that we can work as a boss with someone who you really like, and you go fishing together and you go to events together. But it can also be a negative in that it does affect your ability to kind of give direction to those people in some cases. So understanding and building a very positive line between personal and professional is very valuable, and that's something that I would consider paramount to success. Is like the team needs to know that you are, when it's time to work, that it's time to work, and that they know when to listen. So, and then the other thing is not much room to advance. So that's one of the negatives as well. I'm sure there's a bunch of other things you guys can think of here, but start thinking about motivation. When you interview someone, think, why are they interviewing? What do they need from me? Can I offer that honestly to them? And will this be what they expect when they get here? That really matters. Okay, it's time for the interview. Excuse me. So as we talked about with the poster earlier, be a pro. Again, interview everyone. So interview all the time and interview every single person that applies. Even if you don't think that they're any good, interview them, because you just don't really know who you're getting. I've hired a couple people that were 15 years old to work at the shop part-time. They've now worked for me for 14 years, 10 years, and they're killing it. So it's like you hire a high school kid who loves fishing, and next thing you know, you've helped them to turn it into a career. Right? I don't know if I helped you. I mean, maybe I did. You started, how old were you when you started? 15, right? Like blowing it out of the water right now. So it works, and but you care about each other, right? Like I always hope that you do the best, and I do. I think about you all the time. So it's cool to be here and doing a speech, and someone that I worked with when he was really young is here, and it's really worked. So that's great. So interview everyone. And I say yes, even them. That's the people that you think are not worthy of the interview, but trust me, just do it, because you never know who they are. Get back to them quickly and set up an interview on the phone. So getting back to them quickly is just showing them respect. That's what that is. Don't let them sit around and wait and wonder what's going on. Did I send this application into the right place? Get back to them right away. Set up a phone interview. And my phone interviews are anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes at the most. It's my initial first round, just to make sure that if they're willing, if they're good enough for me to do a second round and consider hiring them. Let's see. Okay, so the second round, yep, there's a question here. The second round is an in-person or Zoom if they're remote. So I want to have that first round interview on the phone, and then I want that second round interview. I want some FaceTime with them, because I want to see how comfortable they are talking to people. Inevitably, I'm hiring them to sell things, so they need to seem comfortable in front of people to do that. Peter.
Sure. Sorry to go backwards, but
Yeah,
that phone screen, what are your takeaways? What are you looking for?
The what?
Phone screen, what are you looking for?
Phone screen. So one thing I'm going to take away from that is the salary tolerance. That's a big one, right? The second thing is how comfortable they are talking to me, and willing to just have a conversation. Because as a salesperson, they have to be able to talk to people easily. I'm typically not asking them a lot of questions about fishing on that day. I will ask them a few things just to kind of see what their commitment level is. I had a couple people last week who had only fished once or twice, and they're like, I really like it. It's going to be the thing I'm into. I'm like, you don't really know that yet. and the amount of time it's going to take me to train you in the world of fly fishing, by the time I train you, I've already, I can't pay to train you, basically. So here's some things that you should go do. Go learn this, 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 and this, and here's some resources to do it. But yeah, I'm just trying to identify if I've got a good feeling about them. That's the thing too. I mean, that's not a tangible thing, but you get a feeling about someone on the phone. Did they answer on time? How did they answer the phone? They know, and that happens. Like, they say that, and I say, hey, this is Chris from TCO. We have an interview. Is now still good? Like, oh yeah, it's great. Thanks for calling. I'm like, you knew it was me. So it just gives you a sense of whether this person is getting to level 2. And I will tell them at that point, this is round 1, and there will be I will let you know if there's a round 2 at the end of, after we talk for a few minutes. So cool. Okay. So interview everyone. Get back to them quickly. Okay, so if they don't get through the first interview, what do I do? You let them know, you call them back, or email them, and you put some effort into it. That's what you do. So you don't just say nothing. You don't ghost them, which is the worst thing you can do. We've all had that happen to us, and it feels terrible. Send them something or call them and tell them something that they were not expecting from someone who wasn't going to hire them, to show them that you are the ultimate consummate professional, and that your organization is one that they should aspire to work for, because this person took time to even tell me that they're not hiring me, but they actually care about me, so now I want to work there more, and maybe they'll level themselves up and come back again. So that's the way to consider that. All right, I've hired them. How do I keep them? So we talked a little bit about already understanding the team, and that's really important to this. But pay is not the number one motivator. So we already talked about that multiple times. They're not coming here to make a lot of money. They're coming here for other things. What is it that gets people to want to work somewhere and grow? Help your team to level up. Have you created an environment where they can get better every day? So are they just coming in? Are you just assuming that they're coming in, selling things every day, and then leaving? They will not last very long just doing that. That is not fulfilling enough for anyone. How do we make them more fulfilled? And that is by sharing our knowledge with them. So don't hide that stuff. When they come in, teach them things. Let them be better than you. Don't hold them down. Build them to be a better version of yourself. And you will find that when they're using that brain power every day, that they feel much more fulfilled at work, and they'll stay there a lot longer. If you're just looking at them like a cashier or a salesperson, you're going to burn them out, and they're going to be out of there. Give them other tasks in the company. Help them to learn about what's working in the company and what's not. When was the last time you guys all, and we can do a little show of hands here, sat down with your team, everybody, even the part-time team, and talked to them about how profitability was this year? How many of you taught your team how to read a P&L? Right? This is professional development that we have to create for these people, because our goal is not to keep them at this low level. Our goal is to make them the best they can be, start their own business, right? Teach them about retail, teach them about buying, all the things that they can go and do their own business one day. But take the time to help them to be better. Whether it's showing them, the sales from last week and what you identified, or whether it's you showing them a year end that, hey, we did really well. We grew 20% in this brand. And it's a big part because of you. Thank you. And this is some of the things we sold. So bring them in on the back end stuff, and they will like that. Once they're in a role and they're good at something, delegate. So I would say right now, is today Wednesday? Okay, so right now there's probably 50 people working for me. There's 5 shops running. There's a giant website running. And do I look stressed about it? I'm not worried about it, because I have the team that is the best. And I know that they're going to do a great job. So when they need me, I'm there. But when they don't need me, I let them do it the way they do it, because they are better than me at it. And they're better at me at it because I helped them to learn, and then they took it farther. So think about that. They want to feel proud of where they work. I think one of the things is I have this vision in my head where there's someone sitting at a bar that works for me, and a successful business person sits next to them, wearing a fancy watch and a suit, and says, what do you do? And I want them to be proud to say, I work at TCO Fly Shop. And because that person in that suit is going to be jealous. oh my God, I can't believe that's your job. But they need to be proud of it. They need to know about it. It can't just be selling. It's got to be more. They have to know more about the company. They need to be more vested in what you're doing, not financially necessarily, just bring them in on the inside baseball, what you're doing. Ask them about a brand. Hey, what do you think about Shimano? Should we bring that in? And listen to them sometimes. And then you'll be amazed at how much work they'll put in because of that. And then how often are we doing check-ins with the team? So, I mean, I think it's like, it's standard for people to go, I do once a year I do an evaluation of my team. And typically that's like, you do a review, you say either you're doing great or you're not, and then you give them a raise or you don't, and then you move on. But like, I'm just talking about like, sit down with every person individually and just say, hey, are you having lunch? Let's say, how are you doing? How do you feel about what's going on? What could I do better for you? How can I help you? What do you think the company could do that would help us to grow? Ask them questions, and you'll be amazed at what you learn, because they're in it every day. So from a show of hands, how many of you guys feel like you're doing that with your team? Are you teaching them things? Are you educating them every day? Awesome. Yeah. Are you going to teach me? You'll teach me something later, I'm sure. Cool. Okay. So I think so we have a few minutes for questions. That worked out perfectly time-wise. This is my contact. So if you scan that, it will go right into your contacts on your phone, and that's my cell. So feel free to reach out about anything. And I'm also, John, where is the booth if I want to hang around for questions as well? All right, booth 1212. I'll head over there for a little bit as well. I think you had a question back there?
Yes, I was just curious, as your team has grown to the number of employees that you're at now, have you consistently personally met with each individual? And how are you doing that?
Yeah, so it gets harder and harder. I meet with all the full-time team regularly. And the part-time team, what I've started doing, I actually did a couple of these last week, and I've been doing them for the past few years, is we do group meetings. And I'll come out. I did one at our store the other day. We had maybe 12 people there. Most of them were part-time staff. And we spent the first hour talking about the company direction, where we're heading, what they think of that, where they think we should head, and then we do training together. And we were there for 6 hours, and they were like writing notes, and they were so hungry for that information. And that's what energizes me. Like when I can go in and do that and teach them about some techniques and equipment and how to sell things, and one of the other things we talk about is brand relationships. Understanding why do we have certain brands, why do we not have certain brands right now? Which, by the way, is my talk tomorrow is about choosing brands, PO management, and purchasing. But I bring even the part-timers. They might work a couple hours a week, but they have great input. So that's how I meet with everybody. And they know that they can call me, and if I have a question, I answer the phone every time they call me. That's another big thing. I get a lot of phone calls, but it's all good. Yeah. Oh.
Hi. So as a second generation entrant into my
I can't hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a second generation entrant into my family business, I want to open up my parents' side to the idea of hiring more people. So there's like this kind of like a mental block with them. So how do you like get it through them that they should like give up control, start hiring? Is that something that you could help me out with?
So like talking to it's a family business. So convincing the other people that are running it to hire more people. Yeah, we'll talk about it outside. We'll grab a minute after this and chat about it. Perfect. Anything else? Is that good timing wise? Perfect. Thank you guys so much. Yeah.